Okay, this is a video for the Elysian Acoustic DIVA. This is, I believe, a 6-balanced armature set. I borrowed this from another, not a YouTuber, another person that's in Japan. He's on my Discord and he's got it. And I said, can you send that out? I honestly didn't think that I would be a fan because I saw a graph of it and some people were talking about it and they have different libraries of mine. And I thought, I just want to put it on my graph tool and then move along, because graph tool, and then send it back. No harm, no foul. It's not my thing. But I actually listened to it and became quite a fan. If you know me, you know that the Elysian Acoustic X is my favorite, period. I don't think there's anything that's better than that. Sadly, it's been discontinued. If you can find it on the secondhand market, you'd probably get it for a better price than I paid. Yes, I paid for that. And I would recommend that you grab it because it's an excellent set. This has a dial on the back that you can see right there, and it's got 3 adjustments for the bass. Let's take a look at that really quick. It is adjusting from about 180 hertz back, so it's really sub-bass elevation with a little bit of mid-bass. Again, looking at this graph and reaching out to get a loner, I really thought, that's not going to really be my thing. I think that the mids, upper mid treble are brilliant. Extension all the way, not shouty. So I listened to it. Because, of course, I'm going to listen to it. I just didn't think I was going to do a video for it. And then here I am doing a video for it. Why? Because it's a slightly confusing set. I think it's the best set that you can buy that's all BA. I think the RSV by Soft Ears was that for me previously. The V16 by TA Audio is another one possibly. This is just a really good set, so I'm doing the video for it. The low frequency, let me go ahead and turn this up for a second. The low frequency, you don't need to like these tracks, you just need to know what they are. This is a album called Tupacalypse Now, and the track is called Violent, and it's got a sub-bass deck low drone that's very, people who like Massive Attack are maybe familiar with that. It's a constant droning. You don't need to even 15 seconds of the intro, you'll get what I'm talking about. This set does that nice. It does it so much well that I wouldn't have known it's all BA until being told if I had blind listened to this. It's not obvious to the ear, not in the sub-bass. When we get to the mid-bass and play a track like Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. Did I pass it? No, I didn't. Here we go. This is a track that can give you a feel of the mid-bass's tuning, because the bassist is a reflection of the mid-bass. If the mid-bass is tuned up too much, the bass is going to sound in your face and competing for space with the lead singer slash guitarist Mark Knopfler. And if it's tucked back too much, you're almost straining to listen to the bassist. And that's really not the case with this, which is why I'm actually doing this video. The Moondrop Variations does give that effect, and it's got a dynamic driver. And people love it, and it's got a dry, clean mids, and I get it. It's not my thing, but I get it. This set is not radically different from that set in the tuning. However, I'm getting a warm replay that's impacting the vocals and the guitar in a way that's so pleasant. It's making the fact that the bass is slightly back very, very easy to accept, because the overall replay is just so nice. And again, if you think, oh, you're simping for this guy, I paid for that set. I paid for the Annihilator. I didn't even get this sent to me. I borrowed this from somebody. I'm sending it back, and I borrowed it because I wanted it for my graph tool. That's it. Wasn't even going to do a video. But good stuff gets videos, and this is good stuff. So if you're worried about mid-bass because of the graph, I wouldn't worry too much unless you really want a lot of heavy note weight. And again, this doesn't really seem like the graph would indicate to be lacking there. Now, to get to something where it might be a little bit more audible to some people, but again, not as much as you might imagine, the 4th album by Led Zeppelin, an iconic, historical kick drum intro at the beginning of When the Levee Breaks, dun, tsh, dun, 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 tsh. It actually doesn't sound that, it sounds good on this. It shouldn't. The Variations doesn't. I don't know if that's because of the energy. There's something called stealing focus that I want to bring up really quick. When something else is emphasized over the other, it steals your literal focus and it exaggerates what might be the tuning. You have a set like the Variations where it's got plenty of treble, maybe too much for some, and then it's got the tuck, and you combine that and it maybe sounds leaner than it actually is. I can't explain it because on a frequency graph, this set should sound a lot like the variations, yet it doesn't. It's got a warmer tint, just slightly, and it makes this sound like a kick drum instead of a very produced and emphasized kick drum. And because of the vocals and the harmonica and other replay on this, I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. This thing is a beast with vocals. The album, Led Zeppelin 2, take my hand, child, come with me. It's to a castle I will take you, and what's to be, they say will be. Dun, 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 dun. I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with every song that I listened to this because it's just such a brilliant tuning. And when I got over the fact that the mid bass is not what I like, and look at that graph and just listen to music, and then listen with the variations, I said, I got to do a video for this. And I don't care kind of what it sounds like. Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing, sounded dope. Jerry Garcia, Ripple, sounded dope. As you can see on my library as I move along, short of classical music, everything I listen to contains vocals. If vocals are not done well because there's a shouty upper mids, or there's a scoop in the mids, or there's an unnatural spike in the upper treble, I'm not going to like it because my library kind of precludes that from happening unless my ears are wonky and I like weird vocals. I don't. I like vocals done in a way that sounds authentic. This kills it. Absolutely nails it. If I were to give this other rankings, Fleetwood Mac sounded dope. I'm just going to keep saying this sounds dope. There was nothing that sounded lacking except the one thing that I was looking for, and it was a little bit. But everything else played back so good, I said, I'm going to do a video before I pack this up, because I literally am going to put this in a box, send it back to the dude in Tokyo, because he's coming back. And he said I could have it for, I think, like 10 days. So I'm doing a video. Everything sounded dope. So let's go ahead and take a look at the scale. I think on the treble, sorry for the long pause, I would put this at like a 9 or a 10. And it doesn't have any ESTs. And there might be 1 or 2 PAs taking care of the treble. Yeah. The bass, I like this better than the RSV. I think the RSV has more mid-bass in its tuning. I think the overall replay, but we're just talking about the bass, so I'd put this probably around a 6 or a 7 for reasons that I can't explain, with that exaggerated sub-bass over the mid-bass, but not tucked, more of a kind of a pulled back glide. I just find this to be excellent. I'd probably give that a 6 or a 7. The treble I just did. The mids, this is where I got to check myself for a second. There's not a lot of things that I've heard that have better mids than this set right here. And there's a Mark II at a 11 spot right there, so it's going to go around 8 or 9. Technicalities, this is better than a IE600. Not quite as good as the X, which is, again, right on top of that shit stack. 9, something like that. So this thing's just killing it, and it's 6 BAs. And I was going to just graph it because I don't think there's going to be a lot of views for this video. It's not, they're not selling it. You got to pre-order it, etc., etc. I want to have it on my channel just historically because it's such a nice set. Sounds dope. The guy's brilliant. Is there a better tuner in the hobby in this past year than this dude? I can't think of one. Everything this guy touches, whether it's the Annihilator, it's the X, it's this Diva, I haven't heard anything. I know he did stuff a few years back before he had a talk with Krenner, he readjusted himself, but he's really smashing home runs right now. And that's it. So I'm putting this up on my channel. Beast of a set. I got to think of where I put the treble because it's that good. Or the mids. Problems. And I'm out.